Do you guys actually remember when people thought this was a meme?
근데 조금 휴스턴 팀이 걸리네요.
Personally, I don't think anyone can defeat us, but Houston is really good. So, all right.
Yeah, people actually thought that was a meme. There was a lot of controversy around this clip regarding whether or not Ryu Jahong and Seoul Dynasty were being truthful, and even some of the other Korean teams when they were saying that Houston Outlaws were a really good team, one of the best Western ones. People actually legitimately laughed it off and thought they were either playing mind games or just trolling Jake for some random unknown reason because of some beef from Team USA and Team Korea in the World Cup. I don't. People actually thought that was a meme. What is going on, guys? Houston Outlaws, absolutely insane. I did not see that match coming. Holy crap. You guys saw my predictions video. I gave London Spitfire 100% the win and the advantage in this match. I thought it would be a 3-1. Potentially it could have been a 3-2. But I really didn't give the Houston Outlaws a fair shot at winning this match just because of how well the London Spitfire looked last week. They 4-0'd Seoul Dynasty. They just were improving game by game since week 1. They're doing their inner scrims with their 12-man roster. I thought they were going to be unstoppable going into stage 2. But wow, Houston Outlaws proved me wrong, proved so many people wrong. They've looked absolutely great. They had a small hiccup last week when they didn't have Linkser in, and they lost to the Seoul Dynasty 2-3, but that was a very close match. Again, a reason why I thought London Spitfire were still going to beat Houston is because they absolutely destroyed Seoul 4-0, so, you know, it made sense in my head. And nobody can really blame me. I'm not going to blame anybody for thinking London was going to win this match. They got stomped. It was a 3-1 victory. London was lucky to pick that last map up. It was like Houston was like, here you go. Take one free map, guys. We got enough here. See you later. They destroyed them on them first 3 maps. Eichenwald, not close at all. They finished it off with, what, 3 minutes? Around 3 minutes left. On Anubis, they freaking held second point without losing a tick. Koth was a 2-0. I believe it was like 100 to 70 and then 100 to 50 or something. 2 very dominant Koth rounds, and that was just an easy 3-0. Houston Outlaws looked incredible, and now they're in a position where they can qualify for the playoffs. And at the end of this video, we're going to take a look at the standings, figure out how which team can qualify for the playoffs, who's in it still, who's now out, because a lot has changed since yesterday. This match for the Houston Outlaws was huge, and it's just blown everything wide open. I thought yesterday was crazy, guys. Today was absolutely nuts. It really just proves that anybody can win at any time, and that's just a fact. If you've been a follower of my channel since the beginning, you will know that I've been a strong believer that anybody can win at any time, and nobody is guaranteed to win no matter what. Sure, there are the favorites and who we think will win, but honestly, that doesn't matter. What matters is who shows up on the stage at that very second in that game and performs. That's all that matters. And right now, really, anybody can do that. Anybody can show up and win. I mean, sure, Shanghai Dragons can't because they're 0-9, but eventually they will. They're going to get a win. It's going to happen. They're not going to go 0-40. I guarantee you guys that. What a crazy result. Props to the Houston Outlaws. Man, it is so hard to predict who's going to win in this league. It really is. Hats off to them. Let's move on to that first game now. The Boston Uprising and the Philadelphia Fusion. I knew the Boston Uprising were going to come out and win this one. I was hoping it would be more competitive than this, but I knew there was that chance that Philadelphia Fusion just wouldn't show up and get stomped out because they've shown they're very inconsistent, and either they're going to show up and Carpe and shot will not happen. Everybody, Fraggy will either play a methodical Winston or just a suicide bot, you know. It just really is up in the air when it comes to Fraggy and the Philadelphia Fusion. Today we saw the sloppy team, but I don't want to take anything away from Boston because they are looking amazing. This has set up a huge match between Houston and Boston on Saturday. It will decide who moves on to Stage 3 playoffs. There are some small things about the match which have to happen for certain teams to qualify, which we're going to go over at the end of the video. But Boston looked great today. Dream Casper is a god. This guy is so good. Him, Linkser, Jake. Wow, they are good Western. God, they are good Western DPS players, guys. It's like they come from the region of Korea, or it's like being from Korea doesn't matter anymore if you're in the Overwatch League because you're just competing with the best. And I've also been a firm believer of that every single player and team is pretty much living the same lives. Sure, you're born with talent. Sure, some of the coaches, some of the players are just better than the others, than some on the other teams, but they all are being given the same opportunities. They all have the team houses. They all have the same infrastructure where they live in a team house, they practice daily, they have the faculty, they get food, all that stuff. And it really just depends on how you utilize it all. And you can really see that the players like Jake, Linkser, Dreamcast are really taking advantage of this. They're playing lights out. They're working their asses off. You know they are. You can't play at this level in the league and not be working your ass off. I'm sorry if you guys thought otherwise, but that is just plain simple truth. So another big shout out to those 3 players. Absolutely insane. And moving on to that last match that was played between New York and Florida, it wasn't really close. As expected, New York kind of dominated. There was a draw, and New York was running Pine over SBB basically the whole time, which I won't expect them to do in their match against London. They'll probably have SBB in more than likely. So let's move on to the standings now and how teams can qualify for the title stage matches. Right now, sitting pretty, we have New York at rank 1, London at 2, Houston at 3, Boston at 4, Los Angeles at 5, and Seoul at 6. The other teams have all been eliminated. Now let's start off at the bottom with Seoul Dynasty and talk about how they can qualify. They're going to need a lot of help because they need a win 4-0 against San Francisco Shock, and then they're going to need the Boston Uprising to beat Houston Outlaws 3-2, as well as the Los Angeles Valiant losing a map to Shanghai Dragons. They need all of that to happen for them, so it's more than likely not going to. I'd say they're sitting at like a 5 to 10% chance to qualify. And we're probably seeing a title stage without Seoul Dynasty, guys, as much of us would not have expected. Moving on to the Los Angeles Valiant, who also need a little bit of help, not as much as Seoul Dynasty though. The Los Angeles Valiant need a 4-0 victory over the Shanghai Dragons, and then they need a 3-2 victory for Boston over Houston, thus putting them at higher points than Boston. Now, as for Boston and Houston, they both basically have destiny in their own hands. If Boston wins 3-1 or better, they move on and qualify. Again, if they only win 3-2, there's that chance that Seoul and Los Angeles both get a 4-0 victory, and that would put them above them. Then for Houston, destiny is a little more in their hands than it is for Boston. All they need to do is get a victory, whether it's 3-2 or 4-0. If they win this match, they're in the playoffs. Now moving on to rank 2, London Spitfire, who are in a little bit of danger, not as much as some of the other teams, but there is a chance they don't qualify. And here's how. If the London Spitfire are not able to get a map off New York Excelsior, that would put their points at plus 12. So if any team gets to plus 13, they will qualify over that. Los Angeles Valiant, if they 4-0 Shanghai Dragons, which is likely, they will get to plus 13, putting them over the London Spitfire. So London Spitfire needs a map win over New York Excelsior to qualify. If the London Spitfire also goes 0-4 against New York, if the Boston Uprising also beat the Houston Outlaws 3-2 or better, that would put them at plus 12, tied with the London Spitfire, who would be at plus 12. And as we know, the Boston Uprising beat London Spitfire earlier this stage, so that would put them above them. So London Spitfire are in danger of the Boston Uprising and Los Angeles Valiant both moving ahead of them. And moving on to the last team, the New York Excelsior, who are the only team that are guaranteed in the Stage 1 playoffs because they have 8 wins. Only team that can get 8 is London Spitfire, so there's no way for them to get knocked out. There is a chance that they aren't the number 1 seed though. If the London Spitfire end up beating them 3-1 or better, then the London Spitfire would have more points and they would be the number 1 seed. But other than that, New York Excelsior is looking pretty. They will definitely bring their A game against London Spitfire though, because every map still counts toward the end of the season. As well as having the number 1 seed for the title matches is crucial, because the better you do in the title matches, the more money you make. And we all know everybody loves money, so I'm sure they're going to be trying. And of course, they would also want to be the only Korean team in the title matches. And that's basically it for the standings, guys. This is how all the teams can make it into the title stage playoffs. Some have more of a chance than others. Specifically, the Seoul Dynasty are in trouble, like I said. No one expected that. Houston versus Boston. Oh my God, Saturday's going to be amazing. We got to look forward to that. Winner will probably qualify for the Stage 1 playoffs, as long as it's not a 3-2 victory for Boston. And then other match, which is going to be London Spitfire, New York Excelsior. London Spitfire are actually still battling for their lives. They should be fine as long as they get one map, and they could potentially still weigh that #1 seed with a 3-1 or better victory. Wow, it's going to be the best day of Overwatch League so far. We got those matches to look forward to, and then the title matches right after. Oh, it's so stacked. So be sure, if you're happy for that, guys, drop a like on this video, subscribe to my channel, add me on Snapchat, guys. You can see behind the scenes exclusive footage of me, my videos, my life, etc. Follow all the other social medias, and I'm out of here, guys. Thank you for watching. Peace.